You're listening to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, the show that proves no one stumbles upon success ever. With your host, Lou Need. Every Mondays and Thursdays, we deliver cold hard evidence behind the power of a robust morning routine. Get ready to be transformed by the renewal of your mind.
Hello, morning enthusiasts. Welcome to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lunid, and today I am elated. I am super excited to have an amazing guest to the show, Robert Howard. He is a blue-collar entrepreneur, built a multi-million, real estate wholesaling business from scratch. He has over 20 years in auto sales, and he has been able to scale his ventures to 200 to 300K monthly while raising 4 kids. Now, this is not like amazing, I don't know what is, right? Unlike typical gurus, he achieved success without prior wealth or connection, proving that anyone can build an empire with grit and a smart strategy, which is what he's going to share with us today and tell us all about his business. So with no further ado, Robert, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Doctor.
Such a pleasure. I love a hero's journey. I know you're coming back from 20 years of auto sales, and that's a really great background to have, right? To transition into what you do. But tell us what drove you to kind of lean into more real estate when you started.
Well, the choice was easy. It's not comparable to what you do. I do have a great deal of respect for you and your consistency and what you deliver to your audience. So I first want to take the time out to give you your flowers now, because that takes some real consistency. It takes real dedication and effort to continuously put these podcasts on, week after week, day after day. It's pretty phenomenal what you've built here. And guys, if you're all in the audience, you're all listening, watching, it's the best compliment you can give her is go and give her a review, a 5-star review, wherever you get your podcast, whether it's Apple, Spotify, wherever it is. So do that so she can continue to generate all this value here, man. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I've watched your podcast, I've listened to them, and it is very, very, very inspirational. I pick up stuff myself, but it's easier said than done. But if you're interested in little old me, I'll tell you a little bit about what I do. You know, those people, they're just getting started in real estate. And a lot of them, just like I was, a little bit lost, short on cash, can't figure out where to start. And they've watched YouTube, they've consumed all this education, but hadn't taken any action yet. So what I do is help them get over the hump, overcome those fears. And I do that using my no-risk revenue method. And we do it by getting one smart deal at a time. And that's how you create your real wealth.
Wow. And so there's mentoring and coaching happening there to future investors, aspired investors who don't quite know the ins and out of this industry. That's
correct. And I start at the ground level. And the ground level is, for me, is wholesaling. But this isn't where it all started for me. It took me at one point just having to get fed up and having no control over my time. You know, we talked about that 20 years in the auto industry, but 20 years is almost like dog years there, man, because you're working from can to can. You know, you're talking about knocking down 70-hour, 80-hour weeks on a regular. Mm-hmm. And just to be able to get into something like that at the beginning, because it is a very rewarding career. And at my height, and even when I ended, it was still pretty lucrative. But I'm trying to transfer to the new currency, which is time. And that's something you can't get back. So I try to do that by, being able to spend time with my family. That's what this business has afforded. And it's also allowed me to reach back and help more people.
So that's what pushed you out. That's what pushed you out. It was just that you wanted that time freedom, that autonomy to do what matters and spending time with the kiddos and getting your time back.
Yes, and I was building other people's companies too. So there wasn't fear of jumping out of there, thinking whether or not I can do it. Of course, you're thinking, hey, if I'm getting in real estate, it's going to take me some money. Mm-hmm. And that was one of my main inhibitors. I was thinking, okay, well, how am I going to get into real estate without having like a ton of money saved and all this stuff? And you would think in my position, I would have had like this pretty big lump sum, but I didn't.
Mm.
So when I started real estate, even at that stage, being so far as the 15, 16 years in the auto industry, I wasn't as prepared as I needed to be. And the way I even found wholesaling is I went and looked up how can you get into real estate with no money down? And then that led me at the end, after I went down this big rabbit hole, that ended up being wholesaling. And I took all the major players. You listen to them. I've taken their courses. I've taken apartment investing courses. You name it. I too was one of the people that consumed a lot of education, and I paid for a lot of education, probably to the tune of about $50,000, only to get to the end to figure out that wasn't what it took. All it really took was finding somebody at the end that had already done it. And since they had already done it, when they say success leaves clues, I mean, there's no more truer statement.
Yeah.
So after spending this $50,000 over maybe a 9-month span, after I started my career in wholesaling, I ended up getting my first deal. Now, granted, that first deal made $25,000, but it took me so long to get there. And I appreciate those lessons because now it allows me to fast track the next person and tell them where I made the mistakes. But when I got to this individual, this young lady, she actually just volunteered to mentor me because I ran into her trying to do a wholesale deal. And I remember getting with this seller, and I was trying to tell the lady I was going to sue her for her house, like, and all this stuff. And then she was like, "Look, that's not how you do it." She's like, "If you want to do it and you want to be in this business, I'll show you the right way." Needless to say, I gave her that deal. I bagged off. I didn't sue anybody. And she gave me a very expensive education, in essence, for free. So
Yeah.
that's what helped me get to the next level. But I fast forwarded all that, and I didn't even tell people what wholesaling is
Yeah.
at its
That's
core.
my next question. What is wholesaling deals in real estate?
So in real estate, wholesaling is when you find you're pairing a seller with a buyer, and you're getting the split in between, which is called an assignment fee. So for the sake of round numbers, we'll say you have a $50,000 house that this seller is going to sell. Normally it's distressed, or they need cash, or whatever it is that you're going to do to solve their problem. You're solving it for 50,000. You have an investor over here on the other side that says, "Hey, I'll pay $60,000 for that house." And that in between, that $10,000, that's your take.
Yeah, I see.
And that's basically what the average wholesale deal makes, in my market too.
And you don't have to rebuild them. You don't have to do any work to it to just get the investor. You're just in the middle, making that connection and then keeping the.
You're keeping that. And they call it, I call it paper profits. So that's basically what it is. I mean, like you're selling a contract and assigning the rights to buy it to someone else. But what's mainly important and what makes that model successful is having all the right tools to use and knowing what the property is actually worth. And that's taught in the course as well. Something called, an ARV, and after repair value. So if you have that number, you bag into it, leave some meat on the bone for an investor, it's really easy. I hate to say it like this. Nobody was like, "Man, it's not that easy." And I'm like, really, I'm telling you it is. In fact, it's so easy that during my 70, 80-hour work weeks, I was able to do this part-time. And you're talking what you really need to even be successful is to be able to work 10 hours a week.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
That's all. 10 hours a week. And you can do it all on the weekend, like I was doing, or you can do it, 2 hours a day, however it is. But you're going to be doing your research. You're going to be making your calls in between that time. I made my calls on my lunch break. I would go to my car and I call people on lunch to set appointments. And I set every appointment for my off day on Sunday. So when Sunday came, I have, 10, 13 people lined up.
Yeah.
And by that time, I was doing one deal a month. As I did one, I was like, okay, well, I could spend a little more time at this. Then I got to 1 to 3 a month. And then it was, 5 or 6 a month. And by the time I got to 10 a month, I'm like, man,
You're
if I'm
done.
doing
Yeah.
this consistently, why am I working?
Yeah, you're
And I will
consistently
say,
bringing in that income. Now you
yes, and I
have
like
to
to give,
know. Do you know you have to be connected and know, like, say, investors on the other end, or we're talking about just regular buyers?
it helps to have investors on the end, but you do that by networking.
Yeah.
And by networking, you're going out to your local investor groups, anything you can be a part of, you're getting in there. And the easiest and cheapest form is word of mouth. You got to tell people, hey, I'm buying houses, I'm paying cash for houses. And you're doing that everywhere you go.
Mhm.
And undoubtedly, you're going to meet investors.
Yeah.
You're going to meet people that are going to line up with you, and you'll start to send them deals. But that gets easier over time as well. But I wanted to let people know also that it's not like a get rich quick scheme. In fact, it took me 2.5 years to fully walk away from my job as a general sales manager in the automobile industry
Mhm.
because I wanted to make sure that I could fully replace that income. But in the interim, you're talking about somebody, I mean, on average, just making an extra $100,000 a year for doing something part time. I
Yeah.
mean, who wouldn't want that?
And then you have the opportunity to scale it and grow it. That's just the beginning.
Yes, that's just beginning, and we're talking about that 1 to 3, not necessarily with any advertising. So when you start marketing and doing more, then of course that's where you're going to scale and get really big. So
How do we one change from the employee mindset to business owner? Because that's a huge gap. I feel like there's a lot of purging that must be done because you're now owning your time. You don't have to clock in and clock out. So that's discipline has to really kick in. Those habits are important.
habits are extremely important, but so just say your habits get off some. If you create systems, then it's a no-brainer. You want to create it where you don't even have to think about what
Right.
you're going to do because your system is, A, B, C, D, and write it down. You'll need that when you're scaling anyway. So when you scale, you'll need a process that somebody else can help because we didn't build this just like alone. Along the way, we had to get more people to make calls, more people to set appointments, but they still had to have our processes, our same standard, and do everything the same way because it's not a system if it's not done 100% of the times.
Right.
So, systems can replace habits, even if there are a couple of bad ones you can kind of slide. But I mean, of course, we recommend having great habits, but that's how you get to the next level. Besides habits, is putting in systems.
And you learned your systems from that first mentee, I mean, the mentor
Yes.
that she took you under and then showed you the ropes. So it's almost like on the job learning, but you're building your own empire. And the value in that, Robert, is what took her 10, 15 years to learn, she can just pass down to you in a matter of months. And
Yes.
without the fee and time investment.
Yeah. And the other thing too, if anybody is in any business, it doesn't matter if you're working at any fast food restaurant. What you'll understand is those people have already built systems and you're in their system.
Yep.
So the easiest thing to do is replicate it. And all these, billion-dollar companies, they have it figured out. So you don't have to go and reinvent the wheel. Normally times you'll be like, look, I'm building this company for somebody else based off them doing X, Y, Z. Now, granted, I'll drop a gem to you. It doesn't necessarily have to be wholesaling. Wholesaling is probably one of the easiest ways to do it. But if you're in a print company, a manufacturing, like whatever sector, whatever business you're in, when that company tell you to clock in at this time, do this at this time, do this at that time, they're giving you their blueprint.
Mm.
So if you would just follow that standard, if you wanted to step out on your own, it would take some time, but you at least have those processes to run a business. You learn how to run a business by being in a business. So
That is a gem right there. And it's simple within itself, but we don't think much. We don't think about it. We're not just acquiring skills. We can also learn those strategies that we are within the company, especially if we're already good at what we do there or
absolutely.
have a knack for it and take it off and replicate it, essentially. For those people that are starting, let's say with no experience and no money, What are some tactical tips that you can give them? I know habits is a big one, mindset is a big one. What others can you think of?
Man, it ain't much besides that,
No.
habits, routines, and mindset. But if you have all that, at the end of that, just take the action.
Mm.
Because everybody is scared to jump or take that next step. And they're like, there's some pessimists like, man, what if I do this or what if this don't? But my mindset has always been, what if I don't?
Mm.
Like what am I missing? Like I'm all about that. I
Yeah.
care about more that I stand to gain than what I stand to lose.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's valuable. One thing that I think we left out is the mentorship. And that's where you
Yes.
come in. That's what you provide, right? Because you're providing that same mentorship that you received when you started, over 2 years ago?
Yeah, almost 3 years now.
Yeah,
Yes.
almost 3 years now. And to be able to build what you have, 300K in a month in less than 3 years, I mean, that's really unheard of. And that's the discipline and the practice that you put into place. And now giving that back, right? Teaching that same module. It doesn't have to take the next person as long as you have the blueprint. Tell us about the blueprint.
So my blueprint that I give, and for people that are watching your show, your listeners, I'll actually give them some gems for free. I'll give them my intro to wholesaling. I'll give them the cold calls I use for free leads, which is like your Zillow leads and expired listings. You go and find people that homes been on the market over 180 days. A lot of times those will be motivated sellers. I'll give you scripts for that. And if they'll just go to my website, www.epicwholesaling.com. That's EPICWHOLESALING.com. There'll be a sign up form there. If they will just go in the comments and type the word jump, I will know they're from your show.
Mhm.
And then I'll have their information and I'll send that out to them. And then, they book a call with me, a strategy call, and see if it's a good fit for us to work together. And a lot of times, it isn't for people to do like right then, but they at least know exactly what they want to do. They can kind of start setting up some groundwork to be able to get on their way to real wealth.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Let's talk about some of the habits. How do you get up, dress up, and show up? What's your morning routine like?
Well, I'm gonna be up at 5 a.m. and that's a non-negotiable. That's my quiet time. It's why the house is quiet. Because now, with 4 kids, it can get a little crazy. And by the time people start, they start pulling at you. I've tried the 7 a.m. Definitely. I hadn't tried 8, but 7 isn't even early enough for me. But I
Yeah.
get up at 5 a.m., do a light exercise, get my quiet time to myself, do a little bit of journaling. And then, by the time I'm at that 6 o'clock hour, now I'm reflecting, I'm planning my day, I'm
Nice.
going over my appointments I have coming up. And a lot of times the assistants, like they already have it set up where I'm supposed to go that day and all that. So I look over that about 6:30ish. That's when I go and try to get a little time with my wife,
Mhm.
before it gets crazy. Because by that time, in the next 15 minutes or so, it's time for the kids and all to get up.
Yeah.
We get up, we get them off to school. And then as soon as I get done with that, my day starts. Like like the night before, I even started getting my emails to be more efficient. And I learned this recently. I know some people are probably already doing it, but I just learned it in the last few months. I now get emails in drafts. So I put my emails in drafts because I don't want to go ahead and send them like at night or too early because of etiquette. But I'll know during that time, my power hour, I go ahead, anything that's in drafts, I go ahead and send that. So I'm at the top of people's inboxes.
Mhm.
So I get ahead with that. On my cell phone, I do have an iPhone. I do my send later texts. I don't know if you have that, but there's an
Mhm.
option where if I'm up late at night, something's on my mind, something I need to get handled with a crew member or a team or anything like that, I would hit my send later. I schedule that text. So I try to automate as much stuff as I can because during the day, everything's just popping out, just bobbing at you. So if you don't get that time, you're going to always feel like you're spinning your wheels.
Yeah. Yeah, you have the structure set in place. First off, you're taking care of yourself in the morning because before everybody else of the world wakes up. And so that's everything else is a bonus, right? Because once you get that out of the way, that first hour, that's your golden hour. And it's non negotiable. And I feel you. And a lot of amazing guests that comes on here, it takes that so that you can show up zen and compose, so you're not reactive throughout the day, because a lot of fires are going to come at you, especially being an entrepreneur, and then with kids and family and wife, like you just know it's expected.
And I can't remember, there was some kind of study, and you can confirm it maybe, but there was something like 30,000 decisions being made by like an executive or business owner or something like that in a day, whether it's yes or no to lunch or red tie, blue shirt, black shirt. But by the time you're at the end of your day, that many decisions have been made, you have no idea. So decision fatigue is real.
It's real.
So you want to try to automate as much stuff as you can.
Yeah, decision fatigue is real. And you'll see people like Mark Zuckerberg or our late Steve Jobs wear the same color every day, because that's a decision they don't have to make, use their, especially early in the morning, because our willpower is strong at our prime. And if you're really going to waste that decision power on whether I should wear a red shirt or blue shirt, you're already in a deficit.
Yes, for sure. And by the time they tell you, you're going to start making bad decisions by the time it's, 3 to 5 o'clock, like all this stuff. By the time you get late in the day, I don't care who you are. It's just a matter of fact. You'll make a better decision at breakfast than you would at dinner.
Absolutely. And this is why we have the late night snacking. This is why we have the cookies, and that we reach for them. It's a lot easier. Willpower is not as strong as it was when you woke up. Yep. And one way to actually combat that is to actually plan the night before. Like plan your clothes out, put them out the night before on your ottoman, on your couch, so that you just step into them the next morning where you don't have to think about it. So these little things, put your water out, put whatever you need, like you plan, you map out your day, like you do your emails the day before, right? Like in the morning, you just hit send. You don't have to think about composing and writing an email right now. Mm-hmm. And that automation, that delegation and planning the night before really frees up your mental psyche so that you can focus on the big things. All those decisions that'll come at you at the during the day.
Yes. And we don't realize this, but when we were kids, our parents, they tried to make us do like everything like the night before and all that. But now as you're an adult and you have kids, it makes sense. Because my wife is like that now. Like she's going to make sure them kids, they're going to know what they're wearing the night before. They're going to have their snack packed, everything they need, they're going to need it the night before. Then when you get up, you just need to worry about getting dressed, getting your teeth brushed, shower, and let's go.
And you build a habit. You build a habit that way, because you got to realize you're rushing in the morning. And if you start the day rushing, the first 10 minutes, right, you set the tone for the rest of the day. So you're going to have a more chaotic day, even for the kiddos, because we want them to be attentive. We want them to pay attention in class. We want them to be calm and learn and return what they're learning. And so those habits, they really transfer to the little kiddos. Sometimes I put my 2-year-old daughter in the sleep in the shirt that she's going to wear to school. Again, just hop, get up, and let's go. And so
it makes sense.
We have to be strategic in that way. And that's how we biohack, right? We hack the brain, we hack the body. But believe it or not, we first build those habits and those strategies, and then they make us.
Yes.
And then they build us, right? Because then we were talking about that we're on autopilot now, where we're just functioning, but we already have the good habits in place. So it's all good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is very insightful. I love your idea on automating, send later texts and drafting emails and schedule them to go out. That's pretty genius. And that will save time. That will save you on brain space and preparing you in the morning. Thank you so much for sharing with us and coming on the show today, Robert.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Doctor.
Yeah, I already know where we connect with you. Your website. Tell us where else we can find you, social media handles, if we're looking for you.
On social media, it's Robert Howard. That's RobertHoward. 2 first names I know. But you'll find me, the way you'll know it's me. My profile pic has a pink suit with a white shirt. So there's that.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing and coming on the show today.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
All right, morning enthusiasts, that's it for today's show. Thank you for tuning in. If you love the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, we'd love to hear from you. So go ahead and subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes or Google Play. While you're at it, tell a friend about the show. Be sure to visit bestmorningroutineever.com and our Facebook group to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our fantastic free bonus content. Until next time,